Hello everyone, welcome back to school. I really hope you had a great summer holiday. Hopefully you managed to get out a little bit and definitely I hope that you have recharged your batteries and that you're all ready for learning. Been very impressed with the last few days. You've worked very well and I think you've settled in. And I know that you are really going to make good progress over this term and year. Not just while we're remote learning, but also hopefully when we get back with face-to-face teaching. So the theme this year is about being the change. Being the change that you want to see in the world. Before we look at this theme in a bit more detail, I just want to welcome all of our new students, okay? I know it's probably even more difficult for you to build up relationships with other students, but you should all have a buddy and we all look out for ourselves here, okay? We are one big Regents family. So reach out to some of your peers in your tutor group or class, and also reach out to your tutor when you need a bit of extra support or if you're not sure about something. Okay, we're all here to help each other. I also would like to say welcome to our new teachers. So we have 5 new members of staff. Year 12 and 13, I've already met Mr. Perkins. He is our new head of sixth form and comes with a wealth of experience in IB. Welcome, Mr. Perkins. We have Mrs. Collison, who's our new head of art. Again, she has a wealth of experience in art and design and in ceramics, and she'll be really looking forward to getting all of those skills linked to creativity out of you and further developing them. We have a new head of department in PE, Ms. Godfrey, and she will be really helping you in terms of your teamwork, as well as all of those important skills that you need in PE and elsewhere. And we have Mr. Donaghy, very fortunate to have him, again, a very experienced physics teacher who'll be joining the science department. We're also very fortunate to have Mr. Lapping. Mr. Lapping is our new student welfare officer. Hopefully, most of you have been introduced to him now, and he is available to support you, okay, in terms of your emotional and your mental well-being. Okay, so if you have any issues, if there's anything you'd like to discuss, then Mr. Lapping is the best person there, okay, as well as your tutor. Okay, and Mr. Lapping will try and look at any kind of support he can provide you for that. Okay, so there are our new staff. We've also got a couple of other changes. Okay, everyone I think knows Miss Bagheer. Okay, fantastic biology science teacher. Has been head of science before, and now we're very fortunate to have Miss Bagheer as a head of science at Regent School. And we have Mr. Lockwood, who will be taken over as the exams officer. Okay, so let's now hear from Gracie, Om, and many of our other Regents musicians. They've got a song called When You Believe.
Now we are not afraid, although we know there's much to fear. We were moving mountains long before we knew we could. Oh, yes, there can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe? Somehow you will when you believe. In this time of fear, when prayer so often proves in vain, hope seems like the summer bird too swiftly blown away. Yet now I'm standing here, my heart's so full I can't explain, seeking faith and speaking words I never thought I'd say. There can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe? Somehow you will when you They don't always happen when you ask God, and it's easy to give in to your fear. Whoa. But when you're blinded by your pain, can't see the way, get through the rain. Small but still resilient voice says hope is very near. To kill miracles can achieve. Somehow you will, somehow, now you will, no, you will when you believe. You will when you
Thank you, Gracie and the Regents Massive for that fantastic rendition of When You Believe. That song really fits in actually with our vision. And our vision to bring out the best in everyone requires belief. Belief is critical. We saw that in the football that we just had over the summer, the European Championships, and especially in the Olympics. And that's what comes out. Yes, it takes commitment, it takes hard work, it takes grit, but it really also takes that sense of belief. And we're about getting the best out of ourselves and supporting everybody and getting the best out of them as well. Obviously, very closely linked to that is our motto. Our goal, when you leave this school, is that you become well-rounded leaders of the future. that you're successful academically, that you are confident as individuals, and that you become more responsible as participants in society. Our round square framework gives us the basis for that. All the way through our curriculum, in every single lesson, you should be looking to develop these different aspects. That sense of diversity and the knowledge that we're all different and we're all unique, which means that we can all learn from each other. Also, that importance of compassion, which links very much to diversity, where we're taking care of each other, not just thinking about where the other person is coming from and trying to understand them, but showing that consideration, that support, and yes, that love for our fellow people in society. Developing that capacity to solve problems, to be inquisitive, to be creative, and to work together, not just independently, but as a team. These are attributes that you will need for the future. Our Teaching Learning Charter seeks to make sure that you are supported in your learning. You make great progress, even while remote learning. You need to now keep on building on that. You need to stay focused. You need to stay on target. You need to make sure you're organized and you're managing your time effectively. These attributes here, though, these qualities here, these are the things that we are committed to. Us as teachers are here to help you lead with your own learning, to help build positive relationships, to engage you in all lessons, and make sure that assessment is supporting you with your learning. So even when we're online, this is our commitment to you. We need to make sure we're challenging you, that you are making good progress. Our year 13s were exceptional. We got brilliant results from them, despite them missing quite a lot of on-campus learning. And despite the uncertainty of whether exams were going to happen or not. Their point average was 37.1 points. It's 4 points above the world average. It's remarkable. That point score will get you into Oxford or Cambridge or any Ivy League university. We have one student, Zoe, who got 45 out of 45 points, a perfect score. And she really left as a well-rounded leader of the future. She was an accomplished musician, and she's also gained a scholarship at one of the best universities in the world, the University of Toronto. This is what everyone here should be aiming for, thinking about what their goals are and thinking about how to get there, but aspiring to really be the best that you can be. Our year 11s, we're expecting big things from you. IGCSE, wow. Nearly twice as many A-star A grades as the UK. Nearly all of you gained an A-star, and nearly all of you, all of the grades, were A-star to C grades. Particularly congratulate Minso, Proud, and Zach for gaining 10 A-star A grades. So that's great work there. Know that you put a lot of effort in there and a positive attitude really came through with these results. Okay, so well done, and let's keep on building on these things. So we're not just about academics at the school. We are about that well-rounded leader. And to support you there, we will be having a number of enrichment, ECAs, and other opportunities for you. I really, really want to say to you, we need students to lead a lot of these activities as well. It's good for you, and it's good for other students. So think about what activities you would like while we're online and when we get back. And let's make them happen. If you're interested in chess, then let's get an online chess club going. Okay? If you're interested in debating, then let's get some online debating going. If you're interested in drama, then let's look at how we can make that happen even while we're remote learning. These are challenges, but these are definitely things that we can do. These are things that we can make happen with a little creativity, a little thought, and we can achieve amazing things. I know our musicians have already shown that they're doing amazing things despite the COVID situation. Okay, so let's look at service activities. Let's look at the adventure that we can try and do while we're online. Let's look at all of those different ideals and think about how we can support you with them. There is a Round Square conference coming up, and Mr. Wilson will be telling you a bit more about that later. Okay, he'll also be looking at ECAs in a bit more detail, okay, and letting you know about our program there. We hope to also get some house activities going. So house captains, we start thinking, what can we do? Maybe it's a lip sync challenge. Maybe there's an online team building activity that you can carry out. We want to make sure that we are going beyond the academics. Yes, that's important, okay? But we need to think about other things that can also support you. Including in our enrichment program, we have the prestigious Duke of Edinburgh Award. And we have a number of students now that have completed the Bronze Award. So well done to all of these Year 11s, now most of the Year 12s, Proud, Tilly, Genome, Phil, Rini, Cream, Tanya, Bell, Eagle, Keen L, Sora, and Pakwan and Arman. Well done, that's fantastic. Congratulations to you. We also have some people that have started completing the silver. Okay, so these are Year 12s now. Amelia, Zach, Minso, Dan, Serena, and Bless. Fantastic. And we have Sona, who's about to complete the gold, which is an incredible, will be an absolutely incredible achievement. So all of our students, all of you, will be taking part in the Duke of Edinburgh Awards, if you're not already doing that. Okay, and our outdoor ed program obviously is geared towards that and support you through there with many skills that you'll need for this. Okay, thank you to Mr. Banks, and thank you to all the teachers for supporting these students in the Duke of Edinburgh Awards. And once again, well done to all of the students for gaining those awards. Our theme then, be the change. Apparently, this is what Gandhi said. You must be the change you want to see in the world. Often he's quoted for this. It's not quite what he said. But what it's basically suggesting is that we need to think about ourselves, about what we can do for ourselves, how we can change perhaps our mindset or things that we want to do in order to help bring about some kind of change within society. So what change would you wish for? Just think carefully for just a minute now. What change would you like for yourself? What change would you like in the school? What change would you like in Bangkok or Thailand? What change would you like in the world? So hopefully you've thought of something. And what I want you to do now is to really think about that one change and think about what you can influence there. What are you in control of? So, I know a big thing like climate change, global warming. What can you do? So I want you to zoom out into space, okay? And look down at that particular thing. And think, what difference can you make? Are there areas that are beyond your control? Are there areas within your control? And what areas can you actually act on? What implications does this have for you as a person, in terms of how you act, but also in terms of how you think and your habits? Is there a need for change in those habits? And does it affect your perception of things? So often we get frustrated with things that aren't happening, or things that are happening. Sometimes we don't like change. But we need to really be careful there, because we need to again think, what can I do here? What can I change? And being very clear about that will help you focus on those areas, make sure that you have impact, but also hopefully support you in terms of those possible frustrations you may have about too much change or a lack of change. So this is actually, I think, closer to what Gandhi said. So he's been paraphrased before, yeah? He said, we but mirror the world. All the tendencies present in the outer world are to be found in the world of our body. If we could change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change. As a man changes his own nature, so does the attitude of the world change towards him. This is the divine mystery supreme. A wonderful thing it is, and the source of our happiness. We need not wait to see what others do. So really what he's saying there, I think, is that all the different conflicts, all the different changes with our mind are also there and apparent in the world. And it's about looking at that interaction between the world, between society and ourselves. And thinking about what we can change within ourselves, what we'd like to, okay? And then thinking about how to influence and how to affect change in the world. Okay, so that interaction is critical. We're not all an island, okay? We're not all completely separate, isolated individuals. We are part of society and part of the whole biosphere in the world that we live in. Now just going to hear from Sona. Okay, Sona's going to give her perspective about change.
But why should we be the change? Mahatma Gandhi once famously said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." What did he mean by this? Put simply, he was urging all of us not to wait around and hope for others to make change, and was encouraging us to make such change ourselves. Change is the main two types, those driven by us or those driven by the circumstances or the world around us. And one or the other is always happening at any given moment. When we discuss self-driven change, we must realize that those are the most effective and time-efficient ways to firstly solve problems, and more importantly, help shape a better world for us to live in. Problem solving is an innate part of being the change. It is the initiating incident that inspires people to change. When we see problems or issues that bother us, we obviously look for solutions. But what good is a solution if it doesn't ever see the light of day? Thus, the simple act of problem solving involves being the change, as we have to actively derive solutions for problems and then actually implement them in real life. Moreover, such problem solving ties into the positive effect that being the change has, which is its ability to create a better world for us to live in. By actively solving such problems and bringing about positive change, we can brighten the skies, purify the oceans, and end poverty, and as well as world hunger and much more. In fact, we're already doing this to an extent. An article by the Huffington Post had noted how activists and change makers have tipped the consensus on environmental protection and managed to make the idea of going green very popular. Even more importantly, we have to realize that the first type of change, the change that is directly driven by us and which we bring to the world, is a unique type of change that can never truly be replicated by anyone else. If you make change, even though the external impact of such change can be felt by others, the personal impact that it had on you is irreplaceable. Being the change, as noted, promotes critical thinking and problem solving, makes you more observant of the world around you, and can make you more proactive in your own community, which helps you develop qualities of leadership through you leading the change for yourself. Margaret Mead once said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Never doubt your capacity to make change and never forget that anyone can be change maker." It sounds intimidating sometimes, but you shouldn't be afraid. We are all people who live and thrive in a world where change is only possible to be constant, and to bring about change is only a natural extension of our duty as global citizens and human beings as well. Start small. You can begin by helping your parent out at home or by donating a little to a charity. Then later on, as you get more comfortable and involved with change, you can help solve the problems that plague with the whole world and can even become a world leader yourself. We know that we wouldn't be surprised if you did.
Thank you, Sona. Some very strong messages there about change. And I think it's really about, in terms of change, we can't necessarily change the whole world by changing ourselves. But what we can do, we can contribute to some change in the world. We can have some kind of influence. But more than that, also by thinking about ourselves, thinking about the changes that we would like to happen in the world, and thinking about what that means for us as individuals, we also become more effective and we become happier people as well. Some of you may have heard of Stephen Covey's 7 Habits, and we're just going to watch a short video on that now.
I remember my grandma's favorite story was about how everything cost 2 cents when she was young. But now, everything constantly got more expensive, and it was all because of the government. These uneducated pigs didn't know how to control prices. And when I was privileged enough to hear the story, her complaining would last for hours and hours. And that's exactly what reactive people do. They always focus on the things that they cannot control. It's not possible that a concept like inflation would exist, and if it did, it's impossible that they wouldn't know about it. On the other hand, proactive people realize, look, even if my complaining were completely objective, it doesn't help me, so I'm going to focus on what I can control. If a proactive person owns a business where he sells a product, instead of focusing on how people these days don't appreciate good products anymore and how the government has horrible regulations, he focuses on how can I improve my product so my customers can't live without it. Do you realize how much responsibility, how much dedication, how much hard work comes along with asking that question? And what do you think our effort minimizing brain is going to pick as default? And that is exactly why most people focus on the things that they cannot control rather than focusing on the things that they can. Habit number 1 is be proactive. Now, imagine you're at a funeral, but this one's different from all the funerals you've ever been to. You're standing over the casket and you see yourself. What do you have to say about yourself? This is one of the most powerful questions you could ask. Are you doing the things in your life which are aligned with what you want to be able to say? Do you want to say that you are a good spouse? If that's the case, how does coming home and instantly being negative towards your spouse affect that? Do you want to be remembered as a person who added value to society? If that's the case, are you doing the things that will allow you to say that, or are you scared of failure and choose comfortable mediocrity instead? Almost every one of us will have to readjust how we live when we ask this question. Habit number 2 is begin with the end in mind. Now, if I were to ask you, what are the most important things to you? The most common answers I would get would be either your well-being or your relationships, your family, your spouse, your children. You would never ever say organizing papers or watching TV. But how many of us spend more time organizing papers and watching TV than planning our nutrition and going to the gym or cultivating a healthy family environment? There's a horrible disconnect between what we say and how we actually allocate our time. Habit number 3 is put first things first. Now, imagine you're an author, and I'm an author, and we both write interesting books, and we both have access to an audience of about 100,000 people. I read your book, and I love it, so I decide to share it with my audience, and as a result, you now have thousands of people buying your book and reading your ideas. You see this and think, who is this guy? Let me take a look at his book. You start reading my book and think I have ideas that are valuable, so you decide to share it with your audience. And as a result, I now have thousands of people buying my book and reading my ideas. Notice how different this is from my creating a little creepy Amazon account, finding your book and leaving a bad review, hoping that this will deter a few people from buying your book, which will in turn somehow get them to buy my book. Habit number 4 is think, win, win. Stop thinking of everything as a zero-sum game. For you to win, another person does not have to lose. Something I want my viewers to do is to subscribe to my channel. But you will never hear me say, well, I worked really hard, guys. I dedicated so many hours to this. Please subscribe. Look, who cares if I worked hard? Who cares if I've spent days creating this video? The real questions are, does it offer value to you? And why should you dedicate your time to subscribing when you could be doing anything else that you want? Habit number 5 is something that I try to use every single day with every interaction that I have and with every comment that I reply to, and it is this: seek first to understand, then to be understood. Now, imagine there are 2 people and a tree with 5 apples on it. They're both too short to reach the apples, but if one of them sits on the other's shoulders, he can reach all 5 of the apples. This is called synergy. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Now, I'll be the first one to admit that you can't achieve this with everyone, but you should always be looking for opportunities to create synergy. With every synergistic opportunity you create, you can gather many more apples than you otherwise would by yourself. Habit number 6 is synergize. A man has been trying to cut down a tree for hours, and after a while his neighbor can't take it anymore, goes over and says, you know, if you sharpen the saw, you'll be able to cut it down faster. And the man replies, but sharpening the saw is going to take time. Now, we might laugh at this story, but we do the same thing all the time. We can't find 30 minutes a day, 4 times a week to go to the gym. Our health deteriorates to a point where we're physically incapable of being effective. We can't read a book for 15 minutes a day and mentally stimulate ourselves. No, these things take too much time. And then we have the audacity to ask for little tips and tricks on how to be effective. It's like telling your engineer, don't worry about the foundation, where can we get the magic bricks that will float in the air? Habit number 7 is sharpen the saw. And these are the 7 habits of highly effective people by Stephen Covey.
So we need to think about those private victories. Okay, we need to be proactive. We need to put first things first and really prioritize what is important. We need to think about where we're going and what our goal is. What is the win-win situation there? And really then start to work with other people and looking at where we can influence, how we can understand other people and be understood and work towards a more interdependent society. So being the change, it's a mindset. We need to question our own perceptions. We need to question our own realities. We need to think beyond that. And to do that, we need to kind of detach ourselves and look from above. We also need to think carefully about what we can influence and what we can control. And how can we do that? We need to take responsibility for those areas, responsibility for our own thoughts, views, and our actions, and direct positive energy towards change. We need to get away from this negativity bias. We need to trust other people like we know we can be trusted ourselves. And through collaboration, through compassion, we can really benefit as individuals, and we can benefit more as a community. Possibilities are infinite. By questioning assumptions, by looking at norms and really breaking free of them. It takes a brave person to bring about change in themselves, change their own habits, and it is about being open and honest. And from there, can have a wider influence and help support our community. Our specific round square discovery that we're looking at this half term is about self-awareness. And that obviously links very closely to what Stephen Covey was going through there in terms of our 7 habits. So as regents, round square explorers, we're always looking to look at ourselves, understand ourselves, our own personality and our attitudes. We're looking to think carefully about our beliefs and our biases. And we're looking to search for other alternatives and think about our interactions with the world, which lead to our growth and to change. In a few weeks, we'll be hearing from our prefects a bit more about self-awareness. And today and next week and through the coming weeks, I really want you to think carefully about the change that you need within yourself and the changes that you can make in terms of your learning, but also beyond that. Just for small things, how you interact maybe with your family or with your friends or with strangers. So, we're carrying out self-evaluations if you've not done so already. Most of that is academic. Okay, looking at specific targets, looking at how you can try and achieve them and making sure that they are time-based, working towards your goals. But also, I want you thinking about yourself as the whole person, thinking about yourself and where you'd like to be, keeping that end goal always in sight. So, I'm going to end this now, this assembly. Okay. Think about change, think about yourself, think about society, and don't give in and try everything. Mitchie and Richie are going to finish our assembly now with a fantastic rendition here of Try Everything. Bye-bye, and I hope to see you make good progress over the next coming weeks, and hopefully I can drop into some of your classes to see how you're doing. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
I mess up tonight. I lost another fight. Lost to myself, but I'll just start again. I keep falling down. I keep on hitting the ground, but I always get up now to see what's next. Bird don't just fly, they fall down and get up. Nobody learns without getting it wrong. I won't give far you've come. You fill your heart with love. Baby, you've done enough. Take a deep breath. Don't beat yourself up. No need to run so fast. Sometimes we come lost, but build it our best. I won't give up, no, I won't give in till I reach the end, and then I start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I want to try even though I could fail. I won't give up, no, I won't give in till I reach the end, and then I start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I want to try even though I could fail. I keep on making those new mistakes. I keep on making them every day. Those new mistakes. Oh, 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 oh. Try everything. Oh, 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 oh. Try everything. Oh, 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 oh. Try everything. Oh, 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 oh. Try